All right, so I had posted a little while ago about making phonological and phonemic awareness activities more concrete for our students by connecting it first with concrete objects and then by visual representation of concrete objects. And I'll post the link to that video below. But for some kids, that wasn't enough. And for some kids, we need even more. So I just want to show you a couple of more things that we can do to help bridge that, the language barrier. Because when we talk about sounds and syllables in a word, it's very abstract. You know, when a child learns to say mommy, they're not thinking about all the sounds that they're making. They're just, you know, there's this sound that comes out of their mouth. There's this group of muscles that work to create that sound, but they're not thinking of each of those sounds or even the syllables. They're just thinking that that utterance represents a person to them, and getting them to be aware of the sounds within the words is very abstract. So in addition to what I had talked about earlier, I'd like to also mention about using bridging the words that we use. So when we talk about first, second, third sounds, and when we talk about splitting syllables, just to make it a little more concrete. So as so this was the Jamboard I had shown about using, you know, I first talked about actually using concrete objects, and then I talked about using visual representations. So we can talk about a cup and a cake and go through the steps of, we introduce the words, this is a cup and this is a cake. We ask the student to point to right ones, and then we ask them to produce the words. So that when I say, which one's the cup and which one's the cake, and I ask them to point so I can see, or if they're in the Jamboard with me, I can ask them to move it. And then I can say, now, what was this one called? What's this one called? To make sure that they're aware of the terminology. And then if I say, okay, now I'm going to take one away, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I'm whatever, I'm going to take one away, what's left? And it makes it much more concrete to say, oh, okay, I see. What's left is cup. Now, at this point, I might not even say that it's a, no, it's a compound word. These are just visual representations of objects that they're familiar with. So cupcake. And hopefully they're hearing me say cupcake and bookcase and whatever else, and football and doghouse, and they're hearing the sounds within the words. So as I have a foot and a ball and take away a foot, what's left is the ball, and they can see what's happening here. Okay, so how do we bridge this to the next step? Some kids couldn't go then directly into the syllables. Like I would often use the boxes and say, okay, I don't have a picture. This is sun and this is set. And for a lot of students, this worked. But there are some students that this is still not enough. So what do we do next? So for those students, I have this. So using the image search, I grab an image, and then there's online image splitters. So if you just Google image splitter online, there's some free ones, and you just upload an image and you say you want to split it into two and download it and then put it in here. And I use Jamboard, and I would just do add an image and then upload the image. So I could say, okay, this is a bookcase, and I have it split up. So this is book case. Book case. I just split my word up. This is a bookcase, but I'm going to split it as book case. And after I've introduced it, I would say, now point to the one that's the book and point to the one that's the case and have them identify. And I say, now wait, what do we say at this part? I say book. What do we say at this part? Wait, which one was this? And which one is this? And have them produce book and cases. Now, I'm going to take one away. Bookcase, bookcase, bookcase. Ready? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm going to take one away. You tell me what's left. Bookcase. I'm taking away, and I can take it as far away as I can and say what was left, and have them say book. So I could delete it, and then undo. But this has worked for doing that. And then I say, okay, well, let me try it again. So now I have book and case. And if I take away the book, what's left? Case. So this is bridging for those that couldn't go directly into using counters or Elkin boxes or whatever. This is a stronger correlation to the object. And then I can have football. I'm splitting my word up. Football, and have the child do it, and then the child indicate which is which, and have the child actually say, this one is foot and this one is ball. And then as I remove one by deleting one, they can say what's left is the foot. So usually using a more concrete representation, pictorial representation of a concrete object seems to bridge it. And I have table, table. Now here it's not a compound anymore, but for those that are having trouble, if we've practiced with some compound words, I was able to get my student to understand table, table. Take away the tay, I'm left with bull. Or take away the bull, or I'm left with tay. So using the image splitter seemed to really help. And here we have baby, 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 and doing the same thing. I introduce, I ask the child to indicate, I ask the child to produce. What do I say for this part? What do I say for this part? This one is the which one? This one's the bay, and this one's the B. And now I can take away my syllable and have the child say what's left. So to make that link to what's happening, so the terminology of taking away something and seeing what's left is more concrete. And then, I did Yoda and candy. Look, this one, I already broke this one. Candy, candy, and we take one away. And so I was able to get a student with really, really poor, not just phonemic awareness, but print awareness. Everything's just, and she was able to say computer with this kind of scaffolding, and I could take away the ter and she could say compute. But this was a little harder. But she was able to have a little more awareness here of taking away this syllable. So that's a big step for a child at this stage, to be a little more aware. And as I talked about in the other video, when I can go to words, like if the child knows his name or her name, and if it happens to be a two-syllable name, I could split it by syllables. This child actually, even though she could write her name and has known to produce the squiggles that say her name, when I wrote it exactly the same way she did, but then split it, she did not recognize it as her name anymore. So the print awareness is just down in the dumps for this student. But using this pictorial scaffolding allowed us to bridge that. The other thing I want to show is that for students who are really low, and I've seen this with several students, especially several dyslexic students, the whole idea of ordering and sequencing is really tough. And to say that you have a first sound, second sound, third sound, it's like not happening. So the picture of the ice cream truck really helps. So if you can say, okay, these guys, they're waiting in line to get the ice cream. Who's going to get his ice cream first? And even the ones that can't say first, second, and third in other things, they can tell you that this red one's going to get his ice cream first. That has, everyone has understood that one. So putting this with either letters or with my boxes has helped bridge what is the first sound. So if I have cat and here I've got the k, at, which one is the first one? They could tell me that the was first. So just giving this little picture of an ice cream truck, everyone understood first at that point. So, and then also with the actually using letters, because it's so abstract. You know, when you say cat, you're not thinking, it's hard to bridge to the first sound in cat for some students. So anyway, this helps. Okay, so I hope that helps with some of our really struggling students to make it more attainable.